Alan Murphy here sitting beside Sokaju ahead of KSW 39. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good, It's Thursday night. Suffering will start tomorrow night, cut the weight, and get fight again, and then fight Saturday. So, usual stuff.
So fighting in KSW again. How do you like it here?
It's pretty good, I like it. That's why I'm back. The trade is pretty good, and put us in nice hotels, and everybody is nice. So.
What do you like fighting here for the Polish fans?
I do, because it's interesting. They're pretty, usually they have this thing where they put you in a crowd and there's tons of fans, and they know how to interact with fans and athletes and everything.
So you've been around a long time, but you're still fairly young. You just turned 33 the other day. Looking back on your MMA career, can you think of how well things have went, or the things you've accomplished, and when you look back, what do you think about?
I mean, with me, you can name fights, you can name things. For me, the most important part is the journey. It's it's not about winning and everything. It's about what's out there. You want to fight, but what's the experience? Creating memories and good, bad. But at least when I retire and then when I get to my next career, I can look back and go, that was fun.
So you're 33 now. How long more do you think you'll fight for?
I don't know. I usually say whenever I wake up in the morning and I always feel like watching Netflix and chill instead of going to the gym. That's when I won't come back, because it's still I'm still addicted. It's still in my mind what moves I want to learn, what things I want to do. Why did that guy punch me one too many times last night? Why can I do this tomorrow? So I still have that. A drive. Once that's gone, it will be like a guy going to a job being dead. Yeah.
And do you still train with Team Quest?
Yeah, I still train with Team Quest, but for this fight, I came down to Paris and trained with the MMA Factory with Fernand Lopez, and because I like French food and they have good guys out there, and it also helped with the jet lag, so I can get here early, get rid of it.
And why MMA Factory? Why not another a gym in Poland? Or
I mean, MMA Factory, they're coming up with good fighters. Francis Ngannou, Christian Pundu, Taylor Lapilus. They have tons of guys out there. Once you walk in the room, you pretty much alive to come out of it. So you're pretty much lucky to come out of it alive, because it's pretty heavy room.
Now you're fighting Żurkowski on Saturday night. He's an old school KSW guy, their first guy who won KSW, who won the tournament, and he's coming out of retirement now to fight in the stadium show. What do you know about him, and what do you think of him coming out of retirement after so long?
I think he got bored from talking on the microphone. He needs someone to punch him in the face, and I happen to be that guy, so it will be interesting.
What do you know about him as a fighter?
Like I said, he's been out for 7 years, and what I've seen, I don't think he's gotten any better, because the only way to get better is to keep competing. As an athlete, you cannot get better by doing no competition. That's how you get better. So unless he's been doing things I'm not aware of, but taekwondo, karate, whatever, all that, and yeah.
So you've done a lot over the past 7 years. I think I was looking back at your record. You're fighting in every continent and country.
Everywhere.
You were China there a few weeks ago. What is it about traveling around rather than settling with one promotion for you?
Like I said, for me, it's about the journey and making memories. It's that's why I enjoy what I do now, because I got to go everywhere. And just like in a few months, I'll be back in Australia fighting for AFC again for the belt, and it's exciting. Like, oh man, you're gonna go to that place you've never been before. They pay you to get there. You don't spend any dollar or anything, and all that makes it work. You just want to keep going.
So you wouldn't like to settle down with the likes of a Bellator or even KSW long term?
Oh, I would hate to. I mean, it comes down to what I feel comfortable doing. I enjoy traveling. Being in the same spot, doing the same thing, gets kind of. But going to new places, meeting new people, struggling with the language barrier and doing all these things. It's always, I've always even when I talked to KSW at first, they were like, hey, look, I want to make sure I can fight elsewhere because that's what I do. And, we came to agreement and, we just have to make sure we don't interfere with each other's schedule.
So a lot of fans will remember you from the UFC. I remember when I started watching the sport, you came into the UFC then, and that's how I remember you from. So like, were you happy to leave the UFC, or were you sad at the point because you fought 3 times?
I mean, at the time the UFC wasn't what it is now, so I was like, hey, bye, and I moved on. And at the time the decision I made was the best decision I had for, the contract and the situation I was in and everything. My best option was to move on to a different organization. And,
What situation was that?
I don't know if it was just, it was more financial, contract-wise, I had a better contract offered to me.
And so, like, the UFC's changed an awful lot since then. Even in the past 2 years, it's changed an awful lot. And you train with UFC fighters. Like, do you think, like, with the UFC the way it is now, interest a fighter like you?
Not really, because I remember one of the fight I had in the UFC, I made more money sponsored than actually UFC paid me by just wearing a T-shirt. Just a T-shirt paid me more than what they were paying me, and I was like, nowadays when you get in there, you start the number of fights you have all the way up till. I don't think anyone will ever get to UFC and have 1,000 fights and make the kind of money they used to offer, fighters for just wearing shirts, hats, and logos. So
I think that's kind of sad now for the UFC, the premier organization, and this has happened.
I mean, the UFC is doing what they need to do to stay ahead, and they're doing a pretty good job because they're still ahead of everybody. So it's about the UFC. You as a fighter, you want to look out for yourself, but they said it all where people remember the UFC more than the fighter, and they know what they're doing, and they're doing it.
So just moving on slightly, how do you think fans remember you? So, like, if you talk to like the casual UFC fan, they go, "So could you like?" How do you think they remember you, or what they think?
The Nogueira fight. Usually, oh, you that dude beat Noriega. I'm like, no, it's Nogueira. So Nogueira in the world, that's how everybody goes, "Oh, you that dude." I'm like, yeah, it's me.
And just you fought Nogueira in Pride in Japan. Has Rizin approached you, or have you spoken to them at all?
I know my manager mentioned something about Rizin and everything, but I mean, like I said, I'm here, I'm fighting, and I enjoy traveling. So whoever calls and whoever gets me a fight, I'm in. So
they like doing their Grand Prix, a few fights over a few days. Would you like doing something like that, or would you prefer like having the one fight and then moving on to the next fight then?
I'm a fighter, so the only thing I stress about is training and being ready. As far as contracts and promotions, that's my manager. Usually I get a text, hey, they want you to fight so and so, and I go, okay, where do I start training? When do I start training? What do I need to do? So usually those are my questions and concerns. Everything else is just, I believe they're the one picking, okay, this would be a good fight for this. I'm just here making sure I'm ready.
But the likes of a Grand Prix, like 3 fights over 3 days.
I've never done it, but I do know whoever wins that fight isn't the best fighter, is the healthiest fighter. So I remember King Mo fought, was it Bellator? He won the fight, but he broke his rib, and he didn't win the tournament because he broke his rib. Now, he didn't win the tournament. I'm not saying the guy who won was better than him, but like, the guy who won that day was the healthiest. And I used to watch K1 a lot, and guys who win fights, be injured, and, so I won't mind doing one of those, but usually whoever wins is the healthiest.
Excellent. All right, thanks very much. Cheers.